Welcome back to Aliyah and Chill. I'm your host, and today we're diving into the labyrinthine world of Israeli bureaucracy, where simple tasks require advanced degrees in patience, forms need forms to get forms, and come back tomorrow is both a motto and a way of life. Fair warning, this episode contains themes of circular logic, existential dread, and the gradual acceptance that efficiency is a beautiful myth from simpler times. So there I was, a fresh Ole Chadash, needing to do something simple, change my address on my bank account. In America, this would take 5 minutes online or one phone call. I was about to learn that in Israel, changing your address requires approximately the same level of documentation as adopting a child or launching a satellite. Sound effect. Innocent clicking sounds, then bureaucratic doom music. You need to update your address at Misrad Hapnim first, explained the bank clerk. Why does the Ministry of Interior need to know about my bank account? They don't, but your bank account needs to know that the ministry knows where you live. But you're just changing numbers in a computer. Computers don't make decisions, only forms make decisions. I was getting my first lesson in Israeli bureaucratic philosophy. Logic is optional, but documentation is eternal. At Misrad Hapnim, I discovered the Israeli waiting number system, which operates like a lottery where everyone loses but still has to play. I took number 847. The current number being served was 23. Is this normal? I asked the security guard. Very normal. Sometimes we reach the 800s, sometimes we reset at 500. Depends on mood. Whose mood? Universe's mood. Very unpredictable. I settled in for what appeared to be a multi-day siege. Around me, veteran Israelis had brought camping chairs, full meals, and what looked like homework for their grandchildren. 4 hours later, my number was finally called. I approached window 3 with my carefully prepared documents. I need to change my address, I announced proudly. The clerk looked at my paperwork like I'd handed her ancient hieroglyphics. You need Form 37C. I have Form 37A. That's for address verification. 37C is for address modification. What's the difference? 37A confirms you live somewhere. 37C requests permission to live somewhere else. Where do I get 37C? Window 7. Window 7 was closed. The sign said back at 2 p.m. It was currently 11 a.m., and the clock appeared to be moving backwards. Sound effect, clock ticking in reverse, window shutters slamming. At window 7, 3 hours later, I discovered Form 37C required. Proof of residence at new address, lease contract. Proof of residence at old address, utility bill. Proof I'm not lying about either address, notarized statement. Proof the notary is qualified to verify I'm not lying, notary license. Proof the notary license is current, municipal verification. Form 23B confirming I understand what changing address means. Where do I get Form 23B? Online portal. Does it work? Sometimes. Mostly Tuesday mornings between 9:17 and 9:23 a.m. The online portal was a masterpiece of user-unfriendly design. To log in, I needed Tudat Zehut number, mother's maiden name, first pet's Hebrew name, color of my childhood bedroom walls. Proof I wasn't a robot, surprisingly difficult to establish. After 17 attempts, I successfully logged in, only to discover the portal was temporarily unavailable for maintenance. Temporarily since 2019, according to the maintenance notice. I decided to try a different approach, visiting the municipal office to get the municipal verification for the notary license verification. At City Hall, I explained my quest to the receptionist. You need municipal verification of notary credentials? Yes. For what purpose? To verify my address change form. Why are you changing your address? Because I moved. When did you move? 3 months ago. Why didn't you update your address 3 months ago? because I didn't know I needed 17 different forms. Everyone knows about the forms. I'm new. How new? 6 months. Oh, you need the new resident integration packet. The new resident integration packet was 47 pages of instructions for navigating Israeli bureaucracy. Page 1 explained that forms are required for everything. Page 23 listed which offices handle which types of forms. Page 31 detailed the acceptable colors of ink for form completion. Blue or black, never green, occasionally purple on Tuesdays. Page 47 contained the crucial information. When in doubt, bring more documents than you think you need, plus your passport, plus someone who can vouch for your character. Armed with new knowledge, I returned to Misrad Hapnim with original documents plus 3 copies. Passport plus copies of every page. Character reference from my rabbi. Notarized statement of intent to change address. Municipal verification of notary qualifications. Blood type verification seemed relevant. Form 23B finally obtained during the magical Tuesday window. I took number 1247. Current number 74. This time I came prepared with snacks, entertainment, and a philosophy book about accepting things you cannot change. Around me, I noticed a community of regular bureaucracy visitors. They shared food, played cards, and discussed the clerk personalities like sports commentators analyzing players. Rivka at window 5 is having family problems, explained Moshe, a veteran of the address change process. Very strict about documentation. But Yossi at window 3 just became a grandfather, much more flexible this week. I was learning that Israeli bureaucracy had seasonal patterns based on clock life events. When my number was finally called, 6 hours later, I approached window 3 with my documents organized like a legal brief. Address change? Asked the clerk. Yes, I have all the required forms. Oh, good. But you also need proof of municipal tax payment at your new address. What municipal tax? Arnona, property tax. You need to show you're current on payments. But I'm renting. Then you need a letter from your landlord confirming they're current on payments. How do I prove my landlord is current? Municipal tax office. Building 3, floor 2, window 8. They close at 3 p.m. It was 2:47 p.m. I sprinted across town to the municipal tax office, arriving at 2:58 p.m. The clerk was literally putting on her coat. I need proof of Arnona payments, I gasped. For what? Address change at Misrad Hapnim. Oh, why didn't you say so? That's a different form. You need the landlord verification certificate, not the payment verification. What's the difference? Payment verification shows money was paid. Landlord verification shows the person who paid money is qualified to pay money. Where do I get landlord verification? Here. But I need your landlord's Teudat Zehut, business license, and a signed statement that they acknowledge you as their tenant. 3 weeks later, after visiting 11 different offices, collecting 23 forms, and developing a PhD-level understanding of Israeli administrative law, I finally changed my address. The process that should have taken 5 minutes had consumed most of my month and introduced me to approximately 47 government employees who now knew more about my living situation than my family. But something beautiful happened. I joined the community of Israeli bureaucracy survivors. I now understood the unwritten rules, knew which clerks were helpful, and could navigate the system with relative efficiency. 6 months later, when my friend Sarah needed to change her address, I became her guide through the process. I knew exactly which form she needed, which offices to visit in what order, and how to time everything for maximum efficiency. This is insane, she said after her 3rd office visit. Yes, but it's our insane, I replied. And once you learn the system, you can help the next person. I realized that Israeli bureaucracy wasn't just about processing paperwork. It was about creating a shared experience that bonds people together through mutual suffering and eventual triumph. That's all for today's episode of Aliyah and Chill. Remember, Israeli bureaucracy teaches you that the journey is more important than the destination, especially when the destination requires 17 forms and the journey builds character. And hey, if navigating Israeli bureaucracy while maintaining your sanity sounds more complex than nuclear physics, maybe it's time to call Easy Aliyah's VIP concierge service. We've already mastered the art of bureaucratic navigation, so you don't have to develop Stockholm Syndrome with government clerks. Until next time, bring extra documents, pack snacks for waiting, and remember, every form is a small victory in the great game of Israeli administration.